European Union Emergency Trust for Africa inaugurates 7 new projects to enhance conflict management and stability in the northeast. Nigeria begins Tax Thursday. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo condoles government and people of Kano. And also on the program today, we shall be taking a look at youths and the craze for overseas job. Why the trend and what can be done? I'm Ogochkuka Ona, and we are reaching you from the Benin Network Center. European Union Emergency Trust Fund for Africa has inaugurated 7 new projects to enhance IDP resilience and conflict management in the northeast. The project aimed at fostering stability in the region to respond to challenge of migration and displacement will also include neighboring countries of Niger, Cameroon and Chad. Mohamed Gonu reports.
EU-funded projects are aimed at strengthening the resilience of internally displaced persons and other vulnerable groups and are contributing to the stabilization of the Nigeria's northeast states of Borno, Adamawa, Gombe and Yobe states. Over 370,000 people will directly benefit from the 7 projects.
The EU Emergency Trust for Africa is a joint effort between European and African leaders to tackle the root causes of instability, forced displacement and irregular migration.
Represented by his deputy Usman Mumundurkwa, Governor Kashim Shettima implored the implementing partners to continue to collaborate with the Borno State government in identifying potential areas of assistance with a view to achieving the maximum benefit of the project. Commissioner for Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Resettlement, Professor Babagana Umar said the EU-funded projects will enhance implementing partners, which include Action Against Hunger, the British Council, International Rescue Committee, Mexico, UNICEF, Danish and Norwegian Refugee Councils, will execute the projects over a period ranging from 2 to 4 years. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
The imperative of paying taxes regularly and on time was the central message of the tax awareness campaign in Abuja, tagged Tax Thursday. Joy Uzo reports that the exercise is one of the strategies to actualize compliance for the voluntary access and income declaration scheme.
Voluntary Access and Income Declaration Scheme (VIDS) in Abuja, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo declared every Thursday as Tax Thursday, dedicated to the sensitization of Nigerians on the importance of tax and its role in national development. At the maiden edition of the exercise in Abuja, Chairman Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) Tunde Fowler led a team of staff from the Federal Ministry of Finance and other Nigerians to major business outlets within the metropolis. He said the campaign will be replicated in all 36 states of the Federation.
And this new scheme basically says that if you declare your income, pay your taxes, you not pay interest, you not pay penalty, but with the first step to ensure that Nigeria becomes greater. After 31st of March, and you don't declare your income, you don't pay your taxes, they will prosecute you.
The Tax Thursday would continue for the next 1 year as part of efforts by the federal government to raise the consciousness of Nigerians on tax as a major source of revenue for the country, as well as deepen the commitment of government to delivering on its promises. The exercise is expected to capture 4 million taxpayers in the tax net and increase the revenue haul being generated from the over 14 million registered taxpayers. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The theater commander, Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Ibrahim Atahiru, has reassured Nigerians that the fight against terrorism remains on course as troops continue to sustain the tempo of the operation to clear the remnants of Boko Haram terrorists. He gave the assurance during a media briefing in Maiduguri. Mohamed Garba reports.
Theater Niger commander said troops have conducted several clearance operations to rid the hinterlands of fleeing terrorists at Chikungudu in the northern part of Borno State up to Ajirimulai, Umarari and Jimtilo at the outskirts of Maiduguri, where over 800 settlements of Boko Haram terrorists were cleared and 404 insurgents were killed, including some commanders. Some items, arms and ammunition were also recovered. He said the successful conduct of Operation Deep Punch denied the terrorists freedom of action in Sambisa Forest, while Operation Rawan Kada by troops of multinational Joint Task Force is succeeding in clearing the general area along the fringes of Lake Chad.
On the road, 97 IED incidents, including persons born and vehicle-borne IED, were recorded during this period. Aside employing fiscal security measures, groups of operation that we are doing are also making a point of duty to sensitize the public on this development.
He said in the last couple of months, over 19,000 persons were rescued, arrested over 800 Boko Haram suspects, as well as fish smugglers, Boko Haram logistics suppliers, and drug peddlers, among others. NTA News.
The proposed bill for a law to establish the Edo State control of nomadic cattle rearing and grazing is disadvantageous to Edo indigenes and is not the solution to criminal activities of herdsmen in the state. This is the consensus of stakeholders at the first session of the public hearing at the Edo State House of Assembly. Ubehi Otoba Presai has details.
The Solicitor General of the state, Wole Iyamu, represented the state governor. He said the bill does not have the support of the executive as it has been poorly drafted.
If this bill had gone through the rigors that an executive bill always goes through, that is that our draftsmen look at it, compare it with existing legislation. This House has no opinion on this bill.
The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Bishop Oyerinde Kure, said it will be criminal to take land forcefully from any community and give to a private business owner. The chairman, Nigerian Bar Association, Edo Chapter, Ede Asenogwa, while commending the sponsors of the bill for making an attempt to find a solution to the unwholesome activities of herdsmen, suggested that another committee comprising of representatives of all stakeholders should be set up by the House. The representative of the Oba of Benin, Chief David Edebi, advised the lawmakers to tie all loose ends as regards the bill and reconvene the public hearing. Prior to the public hearing, the entrance to the complex was besieged by a group of protesters asking that the grazing bill be thrown out. In Benin, Obehi Otoba Presai, NTA News.
The National Commissioner, Independent National Electoral Commission, South, Dr. Muhammad Mustafa Leki, wants the electorate to protect INEC's property and officers in their locality in order not to be disenfranchised during elections. He gave the advice at the Car South Registration Center in Delta State, where INEC's office was vandalized. The National Commissioner also inspected the continuous voter registration exercise there. Kevin Ubeche has that report.
Say the hoodlums broke through the window of one of the offices and gained access into the other offices through the ceiling and removed generating sets.
And we removed all the wire of the office.
When we had the national registration in 2011, the South registered had over 74,000 registered voters. All of a sudden, everything in the database was wiped out. And in 2014, we had to do a fresh registration within just 2 weeks without a national holiday. As though that is not enough, now this has happened again.
At the moment, we're trying to regroup and reconnect the wires and get other generators to the place so that the exercise can continue.
Apart from the hiccups at the local government area council center, the registration exercise in other centers visited was going on smoothly. Prospective voters urged the commission to provide more personnel and machines to increase the number of those being registered in a day. Other prospective voters commended INEC for approving 12 additional centers across the state.
It's moving slowly, but at least they are still trying. It's something that will give us the strength to be able to vote.
Yes, absolutely.
And voting, the registration is the beginning of election. we are indeed very grateful.
The exercise will last till 2018, and it is for fresh registration, transfer of voters, and distribution of permanent voter cards. In Warri, Calvin Ubechi, NTA News.
And now to youth empowerment. The Empower program of the federal government is an empowerment and job creation initiative under the social investment program aimed at reducing poverty and youth unemployment in the country. Correspondent Dele Ademolekun takes a look at the impact of the program in Ondo State.
The Empower program is designed by the federal government to equip the graduates and non-graduates and to enable them live above poverty level via skill acquisition and technical know-how, which will advance them from unemployment to employment and entrepreneurship, as well as being self-sufficient. The project manager of the program in Ondo State, Shola Ajishafe, said over 6,000 people have benefited from the program in the state.
It is an agenda to bring unemployed graduates out of a situation of nothingness.
Beneficiaries of the program commended the federal government for the initiative.
And it's helpful financially. It has helped a lot of people.
It really helped me as a person financially.
Some of the program supervisors also lauded the effort of the government.
The participants sent to us from the Federal Ministry of Agric or by the federal government of Nigeria have been so beneficial to our system. We have been making use of them on the field.
Empire is a program that creates jobs for the unemployed youth in Nigeria in the teaching profession, tax collection, health and agricultural sector. In Akure, Delhi, Adamulekun, NTA News.
And now to environment matters. Isiho in Benin is experiencing heavy flooding, which is hampering socio-economic activities. As the rains intensify, the area is gradually becoming a shadow of itself, and residents say they fear losing their homes to the flood. Ayodele Ashubiojo reports.
Season is often described as a time when farmers engage in farming activities to ensure availability of food. It is also a period when the weather condition appears to be favorable, hence the people see it as a blessing from God. This is not the situation of residents of Isiho in Ovia North-East local government area of Edo State, who have been counting their losses as a result of flooding. Their business activities have been paralyzed, while the major road in the area have been taken over by flooding, thereby grounding vehicular movements.
Since the flood is disturbing us, so we cannot follow the normal road that we normally follow. So we have to follow long journey before we now get to our destination.
Part of this area is getting deeper. The road is even spoiling because of consistent water storing here. So it's even damaging the road now, the federal road.
We want the government to come do something quickly so that businesses can continue as usual.
They want the state government to extend their good gesture to the area in line with the policy of bringing democratic dividends to the people. In Benin, Ayodele Ashubiojo, NTA News.
And similarly, some residents of Ado-Ekiti have continued to count their losses as a result of the downpour, which destroyed properties at the state capital. Kola Adebubuyi reports that the State Police Command confirmed that a life was lost.
Importance of rainfall to human assistance and survival of agriculture cannot be underestimated. The recent downpour experienced in some parts of the metropolis, accompanied by storm, however turned disastrous. This could be noticeable on the damage done on some streets where the heavy rain destroyed property, including electricity poles, drainage, thereby hindering free flow of traffic.
This is Okalabashiri Road. The rain entered into all compound, entered into all houses. We couldn't sleep.
The development at Onanla area of Ado-Ekiti was pathetic, where flood rendered residents homeless.
Our properties were destroyed, including everything we have. I've been in this community for over 7 years, and we've not experienced this for once.
So it was a very serious one.
Ekiti State Police Command has however confirmed that the downpour, which resorted to flood, claimed the life of a young man along Okpokoboro area of Ado-Ekiti. Respondents advocated adequate measures by relevant stakeholders to forestall further occurrence of flood in the state. In Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
We now take a short break. Panorama continues shortly. Please stay tuned.
Can I see your particulars, sir?
Officer,
My particulars no dey here.
In that case, you'll have to come with me to the police station.
Officer, which level? Where I for find you something make you take arrange your weekend.
What? Offense number 1, driving without particulars. Offense number 2, trying to bribe an officer of the law.
I won't harass Nigerians or take bribe. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
You're welcome back. Movement of persons across borders in the world today is a regular occurrence, and according to statistics, youths are mostly involved. Nigeria inclusive, with the number increasing in the past few years. What is the reason for this? What challenges does it pose to the country, and how can this be controlled or reduced to the barest minimum? Agatha Egwarojo tells us more.
News is that millions of Nigerians live outside the country. The numbers, mainly made up of youths, increase daily. In Edo, for instance, the Nigerian Immigration Service in March this year adjudged the state to be leading in illegal migration. Experts believe that improving on their financial and economic situations are the motivators for young Nigerians in this regard. Would you like to travel out of Nigeria?
Sure, who would not like to travel out?
Why?
The reasons why I would like to travel out, at least that place, our economy is better than us.
One of the reasons I could say attributed to it is poverty. And for some persons too, I would say greed.
They feel they have more opportunities outside. And you know, here things have become so difficult that even having a square meal is a problem.
Stories from returnees and deportees tell of risks inherent in such journeys, but these have not done much to dissuade the minds of young migrants.
Many of them arrive these countries and they don't have job because you can't work without having a permit, without having a stay. So basically, they just put them in detention centers or asylum centers.
We only see those that are successful, but those that have perished in the Mediterranean are more than those that are even gone through it.
There's nothing outside the country really, although it's a nice place to go, but there's nothing there. It's not a bed of roses.
Experts say migration, especially of youth population, will ultimately lead to brain drain, scarcity of skilled workers, and slow pace of development. While they urge youths to be patient and committed to developing their country, government, they say, must play its part.
Guardian counselors are no more there, so our youths are not focused.
Problem of migration, whether legal or illegal, is enormous on the host country, and experts advocate keeping the youths busy, especially with skills, to stop migration. In Benin, Agatha Egwarojo, NTA News.
And to discuss or dwell more on this is the head of Migration and Trafficking, Idia Renaissance. He's a Youth Resource Center. He is Mr. Roland Moha. So you're welcome to Panorama on NTA. All right, a country that is so blessed with abundant resources. What is the problem? Why are youths not taking advantage of this?
Well, first of all, you rightly said Nigeria is blessed with abundant natural resources. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to harness these resources to the benefit of the population. Politically, we are not stable. Economically, we are still struggling with lots of issues. And this has given rise to migration. In the early 80s, as you know, during the brain drain, when the military then introduced several harsh economic policies, with SAP as one of the major economic policy, many professionals, started to migrate. Nigerian doctors were migrating to Saudi Arabia, to America, to the UK, and to different parts of the world. Other professionals, including engineers, they were all moving, So it became trendy that people have to move because they all seek better opportunities. Everybody wants greener pastures. So the Nigerian government, unfortunately, haven't been able to harness these abundant resources to the benefit of the people. So naturally, people have to move. But it's important to state first that migration itself is a natural phenomenon. Since the beginning of man, people have moved from one place to the other in search of better opportunities. We all know the biblical Jacob in the Bible, Abraham, they all moved, We also have foreigners coming from Europe, from America, from the UK to do projects here, coming in as expatriates to work, So migration itself is a natural phenomenon, but people have to move legally. People have to seek out for opportunities, find out if there are opportunities in the destinations they are going to before they move.
All right, your organization, the NTA Renaissance Youth Resource Center, it's complementing government's efforts in this regard. Can you give us statistics? Taking Edo, for instance, what is the ratio?
First of all, the NTA Renaissance Youth Resource Center, which is a project of Mrs. Ekigbinedio, started in 2004. But the organization itself started in 1999, and basically to address the problem of human trafficking. Unfortunately, Edo State is most endemic to the problem of human trafficking in Nigeria, and a majority of our girls and women have been trafficked into Europe and other parts of the world. And the Youth Resource Center was established by NTA Renaissance with support from UNICEF Nigeria, basically to address the problem of human trafficking. Like you know, it's a girl-child issue, and UNICEF became very interested, and to support the initiative of NTA Renaissance, which they started to address. UNICEF partnered with us to set up the Youth Resource Center, and it's basically to provide information, skills, and services that young people need to overcome social health and economic problems. And one of the social problems, like you know, is the problem of human trafficking. We have been empowering young people with skills, especially vocational skills, in computer studies, in fashion design and tailoring, in catering and hotel management, hairdressing, cosmetology and beadwork, including videography and photography. Apart from the vocational training program, also the life skills, which is about psychosocial and interpersonal skills, to help young people develop positive attitudes, So what we are doing, like you said, is to complement government's effort. Unfortunately, we're not getting the right support from government to do the work that we do better.
All right. Can we attribute this to family factor? Because it's not all about seeking for white-collar jobs or greener pastures. Family, what is their role in this regard?
Yes, the loss of values, especially the family value system that the African society is known for, is one of the main reasons why people are leaving. Many young girls, parents especially, many of them know that their daughters are going to end up in the prostitution industry, and still they allow them to go. We've seen cases where parents vehemently insist that their daughters travel abroad, and even when they know very well that they're going to end up in prostitution. So the loss of moral values, is one of the reasons, in addition to greed, in addition to poverty, in addition to also the craze to go to Europe. You can see in recent times our politicians, government officials, wealthy individuals, they're all migrating, for medical tourism, to buy luxurious goods. And so it's a general craze, that everybody wants to go to Europe. So that's one of the reasons, So in a situation where you have parents who cannot fend for their children because there are no job opportunities, they do anything to allow their children go. So loss of value is a major reason, is one of the reasons why people still migrate.
So succinctly put, what can be done to address this?
The Nigerian government need to do a lot, especially for us as civil society organizations. We've been been doing a lot in that direction, you know, sensitizing the public, creating awareness on illegal migration, especially, like I said, migration itself is natural, you know, it's positive and as well negative, you know. So on the part of government especially, the government need to improve on, you know, infrastructure. You know, the government need to develop our facilities, infrastructure. I mean, take example, the situation of power, electricity in the country is still at its lowest ebb, you know. Then you look at road, you look at hospitals, you look at the educational sector. All these sectors are in almost comatose, you know. So if these people travel abroad and they find that in these countries, in the destination countries, they have access to constant power, electricity, you know, the demand to travel, you know, the quest to travel will continue, you know. But when the government try to improve on all of these facilities, people will want to stay. And even those who are abroad will want to come down to invest, you know. Yes. So until the government begin to pay emphasis, not lip services, emphasis on infrastructural development, you know, in all sectors of the Nigerian economy, you know, generally, you know, I think the craze to migrate will reduce.
All right, thank you very much for sharing your views and opinions with us. We've been talking with Mr. Roland Moha, is the head of Migration and Trafficking, Idia Renaissance Youth Resource Center, Benin City. And moving ahead now, the automotive gas oil, AGO, popularly known as diesel, is now being sold at 160 naira per litre as against 200 naira. Bukola Arubusi was at filling stations in town and reports that most marketers have complied to the new pump price.
As promised that from Monday 3rd of July, the price of diesel will crash nationwide to 42% due to a recent strategic intervention by the corporation. A visit to the NNPC mega station and some other filling stations showed that the strategic intervention is paying off, as the product is now being dispersed at 160 naira as against 200 to 175 naira. Some drivers said they are happy with the reduction.
Before we used to buy 250, we buy 200, but now it's going down now. Now we now buy 160.
In some other filling stations, although not dispensing, their signposts indicate that a litre of diesel is now 190 naira. Motorists say they bought the product at 175 naira.
Like the price I bought today, it's like I bought it 170 if I don't mistake.
In upper, and so it's selling 170.
The price of kerosene has also dropped between 180 and 150 naira, as against 200 naira per litre. Citizens are, however, hopeful that the coming days will see drastic reduction in the price of these essential commodities. In Benin, Bukola Urubusi, NTA News.
And that's it on today's episode of Panorama from the Benin Network Center. I'm Ogochukwu Ona. Thanks for watching.